Today I ask the age-old question, are lesbians even real? Hello, citizens of Stinktopia. It is so great having you back or having you around for the first time. It's fantastic. One may even say the best day of my life. But today we're doing something a little bit different. It's more like ramble-esque. I have some notes for like my talking points, but that's really about it. I am just gonna sit here, ramble a little bit, and yeah, that's about it. Um, it's a beautiful, smoky day here in northern Illinois, and I'm here to just be so upset over streaming services. It's the age of streaming, as we all know. And for some reason, there's nothing good ever to watch. And I feel like the streaming services are just making people more and more want to move to piracy because of some of the absolute bullshit they are perpetrating. Is that the right word? I don't know. Let's just get into what I want to talk about today. Streaming services and gay people, specifically queer women. That's me. No, actually, I'm a God fearing, Christian, man loving woman. I love lying. Lying is so much fun. Streaming services have a really bad history with queer women relationships and depicting them and just overall making a story that isn't straight or gay man. So let's just get into the series and shows I will be talking about today. Here's a list. So, mild spoilers for all of them, I would say, because I will just be talking and ranting and rambling about them. So, I will probably spoil something. So, if you don't want spoilers for any of them, get out of here. Go. But yeah, I'm gonna start off with one of my favorite shows I have watched. Um, and it was met with some good news this morning when I opened my phone to Twitter on the toilet. So I'm going to be talking about it first because, sorry, I just kicked my desk and you can see my camera shaking. Anyways, I have the most to say about it because I really like the show. So let's start with Warrior Nun, which, yes, title makes it sound like a weird show, but the show is actually great and fantastic, and I love it so much. Um, it's like very the action sequences are so cool, and I just really respect Simon Barry for what he's doing with it. And apparently, to even get a queer relationship between Ava and Beatrice, they had to like lie to Netflix, which I feel like is something creators have to do a lot if you're trying to implement a woman woman loving woman relationship that is like the focus of the show between like two main characters. But Warrior Nun is a show that meant a lot to me. Well, I guess I can say this in the present tense because today on Twitter, Simon Barry announced it's been renewed. It's been picked up, and so ah. Anyways, I liked the show the first season, right? I was like, okay, yeah, this is good. It was very like subtextual though about like really just theorizing that Beatrice and Ava were like kind of longing for each other. Then first episode of the second season, they are straight up just like eye fucking each other, and it was hot. I gotta say, as a lesbian, I like that. It was not implicit anymore. It was explicit. Okay, they kissed on the cheek and then they smooched. Yeah. They pecked. They more than I'm doing. Season 2 was met with a lot of praise. I think in my notes, I put that it spent 3 weeks in the top 10 of Netflix and has one of the highest, if not the highest, audience score of any Netflix show, period. Um, and I agree with that. It's a fantastic show. The storytelling is beautifully done, and as someone who grew up very much in the church, given the fact it was a Lutheran church, so it wasn't that serious. but but I grew up in the church, and obviously I grew up gay. No surprise there. Um, but there's a lot of internal battle there, you know? And I think the story between Beatrice and Ava is just so beautifully done and shown in such like a simple and sweet, longing way. Simon Barry literally, it's the same way I feel about Mike Flanagan. Like, past life, they must have been a lesbian. You know, the way Mike Flanagan writes his queer love stories, I'm just like, oh my god, Mike Flanagan was a lesbian. Like, that man is so gay, and he has a hot, hot wife. So, it makes sense. I don't know. I was holding the mic like this. I was like, But, even though the show was met with a lot of praise, it was canceled 1 month after season 2 was released. Rude. Which I think would have been either November or December of last year, so of 2022. Yeah, but months and months of fighting, hashtag save warrior nun, and we have it back. I don't know what it's gonna be on. The tweet didn't say that much, but it's back. I'm very excited, and I think most of the reasons these shows were canceled, the reason listed of like every news source is low viewership. But all I'm saying is that lesbians are a little starved for content. I'm speaking mainly for myself, but I think I can speak for most lesbians or queer women when I say if there's a queer relationship, especially between two women, I'm watching it. Okay, I don't care if I like the show or not. I hope I do, but I will watch it because I'm just searching for the crumb. And if it has a queer relationship in it, I want its views to, be up so that it could possibly be renewed and be able to continue that story. Even if I don't like the show, okay? It's a hard world I'm living in.
Let's move on to the next show.
The Wilds. This was the first one that really shocked me when it was canceled. The Wilds is on Amazon Prime, and it was a massive hit. But then, the show added men. And I'm just saying, I don't think the Wilds writers knew their audience enough to add men into the show. I understand thematically why they did it, and I do really believe that season 2 would have been a filler season, of just like world building and story building. And then in my head when I was watching, I was like, yes, this makes sense for like a story building reason, but mainly I can just see it as like a filler season just to introduce the man group, which still I don't think was a good idea, but I get why it was done. But I didn't like their story at all. I don't know if it was because they were men or if because their story just sucked. But I did not like the men, and so the viewership really went down, and then it was canceled. I was baffled. I was shocked. I was gnawing at my fingertips. That's a lie, but yeah. And it felt like a loss. I felt it in my heart. I was just so upset. And it was because men. It's always because of the men. Uh uh uh. That's all I have to say about that show. Paper Girls, which I actually, confession, I haven't finished that show yet. Because as I was watching it, I feel like it came out, I don't remember what time it came out, but I feel like when I was watching it, it was like a very weird segment of time in my life where like I wasn't, normally I watch things really, really quick. Um, but this one, it took me like a bit to get through. And by the time I got to like episode 6 or whatever, the show had already been canceled. So I was like, man, fuck this. And then stopped watching it. So, whoopsie. Again, it was just because of viewership, which it was canceled because of viewership, which I think is so stupid that these shows aren't given enough time to like fully find their audience. Because imagine any show you like that is multiple seasons. Imagine it gets canceled after one season. It's not good the first season. No show is like really genuinely, well, I mean, there's a handful of shows, but objective statement, I feel like most shows don't find their footing the first season because they're working out all the kinks. They're trying to figure out who their audience is. And then, season 2, 3 on, you're like, oh, okay, this isn't good. Then once it gets to like season 6 of stuff, you're just like, oh my god, let it die. Please, I beg. Oh my god. I'm looking at you, Grey's Anatomy. Season 19? Huh? What? Actually, I've never even seen the first season. Actually, I did watch the most recent season because I really like one of the actresses. So horrible confession. Yeah, I feel like this was again done by Amazon Prime, and I think it was like kind of around the same time that The Wilds was canceled. It was like The Wilds got canceled, Paper Girls came out, Paper Girls got canceled, and you're just like, really, man, really? Do we get nothing? But I thought the show was cute. That's a really weird word to describe that show. But it was nice to see like young lesbians or young queer women, you know? Because normally it's like adults playing teenagers or like old women. I'm looking at you, Kate Blanchett. But it was really nice to see like genuinely young people portray a queer character in like not a weird way. It was very sweetly done. And the way that like young KJ talked to um, future KJ's current girlfriend and be like, "So how did you know you liked movies?" I was like, "Okay, this is kind of cute." It did make me like a little sad because I was like, "Oh my god!" But it was really cute. I think it was done really good. It's not like that show had a lack of content. It was based off a comic book. So it's like you kind of know where you're going with that, you know? I don't know. What do I know about anything? Let's be honest here. Let's move back to Netflix. I really don't like Netflix. I think they're doing really horrible things. But let's get back to Netflix. First Kill, a show about vampires and vampire hunters and hot, sexy teens. I'll say, I watched it. Well, I watched all the shows on this list, so I don't know why I said that. But I watched it. It was okay. It was a little campy. I love a little camp though. I love camp. Camp, camp, camp. Take a shot every time I say camp while describing First Kill. But, they had a budget of a nickel and a dream. And sometimes it kind of gave me like semi Buffy the Vampire Slayer vibes, of like the kind of quirkiness it had. But I felt like it was trying to take somewhat of like a serious undertone, even while still being as, silly looking as it was. I felt like Buffy, I really like Buffy. What queer woman doesn't? But I felt like Buffy kind of played into its quirkiness. First kill, you're like, okay, it's not that serious. But again, it was canceled shortly after its release. I think again viewership reasons, which it probably was viewership reasons. But I will say everything I saw online about it was like people just being like, just please watch it. Like you don't even have to like it, just watch it. Um, so I felt, and I feel like it had very good viewership from what I saw anything online, you know? Um, but Netflix was just like, not enough people are watching it. But they didn't even like try to advertise it really. Same with Warrior Nun. The second season of Warrior Nun, they did not advertise it at all. But then they go around advertising the absolute ass, worst ass movies I've ever seen in my whole life. Just I like physically cannot watch a Netflix original movie at this point because they're all so bad. But they just advertise the absolute living hell out of them. And they're so bad. They are so but they suck eggs, all of them. Every single one. Except for the Fear Street series. Those I forgot those are Netflix originals and those are really good. But it's horror. I feel like horror movies are in like a whole different category. Um, but yeah. And it was like left on like not good terms. You know, Calliope and the other one. Juliet. Oh my god. Juliet and Calliope, they like did not leave on good terms. And then you're just like, well, that's how they're gonna be forever, I guess. But they were a hot couple. Can we talk about that? They were such a banging hot couple. But I'm starting to think if one of them was a man, would the viewership be better and would it have been renewed for a second season? Probably. Probably. Let's all be honest here. There would be more viewers. Um Now moving on to HBO Max. Well, now known as Max, but I'm still mourning the loss. I mean, like, I can't believe HBO Max broke up and Max just like took everything from her. It's like really, it's hitting hard. So it's really hard for me to get through. Let's talk about Generation. The first on this list that was completely wiped from the catalog of HBO Max, which I think is a scummy, scummy thing to do because of what tax returns and not wanting to pay royalties or whatever. I don't know a lot of TV things about money. I don't know normal things about money. I just know if I ask my dad for some, he sometimes gives it to me. But yeah, I was like in the middle of watching it. I got like halfway through, and it was just gone from the platform. And that started a very horrible trend we will see throughout this list. Um, that now companies just think, screw it, we can just make a show and take it off and not pay anyone. It's great. But no, it's not. It's not fair to the viewers. It's not fair to the writers, the actors and actresses. It's not fair to anyone involved in the series at all. And it's a very horrible, scummy thing that now just companies that these streaming services think they can get away with and do and be fine because HBO Max had no kickback really. So now everyone just thinks they can do it. And I'm like, no, you shouldn't. I get that you're doing it, so you technically can do it. But it's a horrible, scummy, douchebag thing to do. I don't have much to say about Generation except for the fact that it was going to get me into the point of shows being taken away from streaming services. And like original shows. It's not like they're taking off the Blair Witch Project, which is on every single streaming service known to man. I'm not even joking. Look it up. I feel like every streaming service I go onto that I have, and I just mosey my way into the horror movie section as one does, there will be the Blair Witch Project, without fail. which, like, it's a fine movie. I'm not a big found footage girl. Besides Creep, that's a good movie. But the Blair Witch Project doesn't have to be on everything. Okay, we already know what happens. Yeah, having an original, taking an original and just saying, get out of here. That's so messed up. Next on the list. We're going back to Netflix again with Everything Sucks. Now, I really like this show. I don't remember when I watched it. I think I watched it when it came out. But it was it was a really fun watch. Another like high school show that felt high school-esque. And I was still in high school when the show was released. So I was like, this is nice. I like this. We got to see Sydney Sweeney kiss a girl, and that was my introduction to Sydney Sweeney. So that was great. But yeah, I felt like the little like enemies to lovers to like mean girl to mean to everyone else besides the girl you really like. That was cute and very lesbian-esque. um, just like I hate to play into the stereotype of like mean lesbian, but I'm also kind of just like an asshole sometimes. Um, when people deserve it, I will say, but yeah, we got like a nice little play on that, and it didn't feel how a lot of teen shows feel of like the exploitive, overly sexual, just kind of gross um way that teen shows are now. I'm looking at you, Euphoria. I've never seen you. I've never watched you, and I will never watch you because I don't want to see grown people play teenagers. Just going at it, okay? Like, calm down. My lord. Uh, my high school experience was nothing like that. I just did band and went to class and made some videos for my broadcast class. Like, that's all I did. Again, Everything Sucks canceled after the first season. For viewership, even though it was very well received. And one that I didn't add on this list actually, because I know it's a very well received show, but I didn't personally like it. I don't know. I am not okay with this. I know a very loved show by many. Um, I watched it. I didn't love it. I mean, I watched the whole thing, and I would have watched the second season, but it just like didn't entice me enough. But I know a lot of people loved it, and that was also canceled on like a very big cliffhanger. And we didn't even like fully get a queer relationship between the one girl, the main character, and Dina. Why did I only know like the like one character name in all these shows? But yeah, that's another one that just came to my mind when talking, because I feel like a lot of people when they bring up Everything Sucks, also I'm not okay with this is brought up because they were like relatively the same time. So I will also bring those up. Next one on the list, Netflix again. We're seeing the pattern here, aren't we, girls? Teenage Bounty Hunters, which such a funny show. I watched it not even knowing it's literally not advertised as like a queer show at all. I went into it not fully knowing that there was going to be a queer love story, but it is so funny, and I like genuinely like I will rewatch it from time to time just 'cause I'm like I need a little laugh, you know. And it's two sisters, and it kind of makes me think of me and my sister Gracie. Shout out! But yeah, they just have like a really fun dynamic. Again, they go to like a Christian school or whatever, and you know, deals a little bit with like being gay and being Christian, and I just think when a show can do that and do it well and not make it weird or just make it like nothing at all, you know, it's really nice because I wish like it was nothing at all. Like, you didn't even have to think about it. But there is, like, an internal conflict, and I dealt with it for a plethora of time, even, like, into a handful of years since being out, you know. I've now been out for a horribly long time. But, yeah, I just think if if a show can do that well, it's a very beautiful thing that I think needs to be shown because many people go through it, and people who look like they probably haven't gone through it go through it. Me, do I look like I went to church? Maybe. I don't know. Do I look like a good Lutheran girl? The world may never know. But, yeah, again, Teenage Bounty Hunters, canceled. Just got the axe. Again, left on a big cliffhanger. And the queer couple was also left kind of in a kerfuffle, if you will. That's the widest word I've ever said. Kerfuffle. Oh my god. Oh my god. I gotta like get out of the house. um, but yeah, they were also left on bad terms. So you're just like, okay, give us a queer relationship, break them up, cancel the show. Yes, please. I want more of it. I am being sarcastic. Please, please, don't do that. Next show on Paramount Plus, and the newest addition to this list of just horrible things happening. Grease, Rise of the Pink Ladies. I watched it. Do I love musicals? Absolutely not. I don't get them. As someone who's seen the entirety of Glee 3 times, I don't get musicals. And that's not saying, oh, why do they sing? No, I literally, in my brain, just don't understand musicals. For the fact of, like, the two characters will want to talk about a topic, and then they'll sing about the topic, and then after they sing, they act like they've talked about the topic. So in my head, I don't know if they actually talked about it and us as the viewers are just seeing the song, or if they actually broke out into like song and dance to express their feelings, and then afterwards they're like, okay, let's kiss about it. It's like I genuinely just don't get musicals. I don't get musicals in that way, and it's a very hard, confusing watch for me sometimes. Because I'm just like, are they supposed to be singing? I don't get it. Like, are they actually singing, or is this like in their head and they're just talking about something? Anyways, Grease Rise of the Pink Ladies. It was canceled like very quickly after the last episode was released, and then they're like, hey, we're also taking it off the platform in a week. But the show was just released and has a very like good-sized audience that I constantly see online being like, this is the best show ever, you know? But everything I've seen about the show is like decently really positive. It seems to have a good fan base. Like a good sized fan base. I'm not talking about like the morals of the fan base on it. They're good people. But from what I've seen online, it seems like they have a like decently good sized fan base. But then it's getting canceled for Paramount Plus, and apparently the creators are like trying to shop around to get it put on somewhere else, which hopefully it does, because the show, I like it. Having like a femme and butch couple, mostly we just see like femme, like high femme, and then someone the show will call butch, but they aren't really butch. And it'd be like calling me butch. Like, okay. But, yeah. I think, like I said, HBO Max set a horrible precedent for other streaming services just to be like, yeah, we can just take things off. No repercussions. But, yeah, Grease Rise of the Pink Ladies, it's not, I think it was already taken off, I think yesterday, which would have been Tuesday the 27th. I think it was taken off then, so it didn't even get all the way through Pride Month. Rest in peace. But yeah. Next show on the list, second to last, Willow from Disney Plus. Great show, honestly. It took me a little bit to get into it, but once I was into it, I was into it. I think Erin Kellyman was so hot in that show, and I'll never see her be able to be that hot again. Ah. Yeah, again, Disney Plus original. And stripped from the streaming service when they merged with Hulu. Now, do we think that's okay? It gave us our first, like, mask, lesbian, Disney princess, technically. It was so fun. And I think their relationship dynamic, the one and the one played by Erin Kellyman, I don't remember their names. Okay, let's all just be a little honest here. And it was such like a tease. That show was a tease. Because they'd like go in for a kiss. And then one of them would be like snatched away, and then we're like, we're never gonna get the kiss, and then we got the kiss, and it was hot. It was hot, hot, hot. Um, yeah, but was canceled, which I didn't even know it was canceled. They were like, yeah, it's not canceled, but it's not in production because everyone in the show, like, we can't get everyone right now because they have different projects and blah, blah, blah. So it's going to be a while. And I was like, okay, that makes sense. Yeah, whatever. And then once Hulu and Disney Plus merged, they were like, yeah, we're just taking Willow away from the streaming service. We're just taking it off. And I was like, huh? Okay. I mean, I guess you can, but you shouldn't. But all right. And lastly, finally, that the last show, oh my god, I put on the list. Well, actually, it's not even on the list, but I was watching it the other day. Gotham Knights, which is it a good show? No, I'll say it. It's very CW, which it's from the CW. So what are we expecting? But it gave us. First of all, this show isn't even done yet, and it's canceled. Like, I think an episode is releasing today, maybe, or was on last night or something. I don't know, but the show isn't even finished yet, and they canceled it. Why even make this show then? And it gave us again some lesbian, blonde, smart lesbian, and then brunette, smart bisexual. And that's just the dynamic I'm loving. A little enemies to lovers, smoochy smoochy even. And the two girls' relationship, Stephanie and Harper. I think I got that right. It's really cute and I like it. And that's really the only thing I like about that show. It's just very CW. So I see why viewership is not good because, I mean, think about Riverdale. CW. Yeah. But, again, I think it's so weird that they even made it if they were going to cancel it before the first season was even done. Which also feels like a really kind of ass move to do. But like I said earlier in the video, I feel like streaming services aren't giving new shows enough time to find their audience. And I think it's because, like, making a show now is like you dump millions upon millions of dollars into it. And well-received shows like Stranger Things, like, every episode is millions of dollars. And you're like, oh my god. So I understand why streaming services don't want to pump so much money into shows that they don't know are going to be received well. But also at the same time, you have to give things a chance to find an audience before you cancel it and then proceed to take it off of the platform. that is original to. And what we're seeing now is that most of these shows have a lesbian or loving woman relationship that is pretty front and center, like main character or pseudo main character esque, and not just a like background side character. Because let's think about queer shows that are doing well. Heartstopper, Young Royals. Those are the only two I know. What about those are what's a fact that make those two together? A gay man relationship. Man on man relationship there. And I've never seen Young Royals, so I can't speak for that. I've seen Heartstopper. It's a fine show. I don't know, not for me. But no, you might be thinking, Tristan, there's a lesbian in that show. There are two lesbians. The show's not about them. They are pushed to the side. They are background characters. Well, I guess they're technically side characters, but they're not like main group of friends, you know? But if the show was about them two, the lesbians, would it be as well received? Probably not. It probably wouldn't have gotten a second season. But because I think the issue stems in white women. White women love gay men. And that's just a fact. They love gay men and they love gay man relationships. Lesbians, on the other hand, nuh-uh, you better not have a crush on me. That's what they say. I've actually never been told that in my life, and I'm very glad for it. But, yeah, and I think that's the issue is that, you know, lesbian relationships or queer woman relationships are just not viewed the same as gay man relationships. And why is that? Probably years of misogyny and homophobia and reasons I don't need to get into because I'm just one woman here in my room on my chair who's congested. But do I see a better outcome? No. I think this is gonna get a lot worse before it gets better. But I think the renewal of Warrior Nun is a step in the right direction. And I hope that it can have a long, full life. Rest in peace to the rest of these shows and any other queer woman centered show that is released, because you will probably get canceled. And I'm so sorry to be the bearer of bad news, but probably the future is not looking great for lesbians. So happy almost end of Pride Month. And let's all just remember, let's watch a show with a lesbian in it today.